My mother made it clear that I wasn't supposed to be born. I was supposed to be a terminated pregnancy. She decided in the last minute not to do it.
As a child, you were taken advantage of by a man that was around your mom.
When I was about 5, they started sexually grooming me by taking me to theaters and having me watch these pornographic movies. I would feel normal with, sexual assault by my stepfather, essentially. I do stick to something that really kind of shifts me out of that negative gear. It's like all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory. Miraculous is miraculous, right? Because I feel like from where I've come from, I've seen a lot of darkness. Now that I'm in this place of more, I would say, lightness.
You're full of light. I'm around you. I feel light.
Thank you.
I think people describe you that way. Welcome to Bending Over Backwards with James Adkins. I'm your host, Dr. James Adkins, where each week we take a deep dive into what it takes to break through barriers and change the game, whether that's in medicine, business, or life. And today I'm sitting with a longtime friend, a friend of mine for 30 years, his wife, Vita Galore, also a friend of my wife's, who has quite a compelling story. You've come through a lot of stuff, and you had some trauma as a child, and you've overcome that. And what I'm really interested in today, talking to you about, is how you deal with when those old movies come up. Like when I think about as a child, everyone has trauma. Mine was kind of mild compared to most, but I still run that movie in my head sometimes and get into a state of mind that I don't really love. My sympathetics kick in. I'm taking some minor challenge and pretending it's existential. I'm kind of like that sometimes. And so thanks for coming. I just wanted to talk to you about that today a little bit, what you're doing. So tell us your early points along the way. And let me ask you this also. When did you, with your background, when did you feel the transition to where you were starting to heal and get into a safer space? If that makes sense.
Yeah, thank you for
one sentence.
Those opening great questions. To really visit your first one, what you shared is like the beauty of humanity, right? That we all get gripped when we have those replaying of stories in our mind, right? Mm-hmm. I can tell you for me, I just recently, when I say recent, like in the past decade of my life, because I'm in my 5th decade. So I've been able to really recognize those disempowering conversations. It's like a vivid movie, if you will, right? Like when you remember something that just tells you, at least for me, it was like, you're not good enough, you're not lovable, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're worthless. That was the messaging that I had as a child in my family dynamics. So as an adult, it carried with me. But I have to say, James, I've been fortunate because I had a community of people. And part of the reason why I love doing these podcasts and you're in this wellness space is because I want to remind people of the power of community, that we're all going through something and that we can all help each other heal in some way. Maybe it's a gesture or something we say or, just laughing at something, right? Yeah. There's so many dynamics. So just to go back to that, when I get in those moments and it's almost like it freezes me, that I'm not good enough, I'm not lovable. I just remember that now is such a long past story. It's like a movie. And through that training that I was able to get through the community of help, whether that was, psychotherapy, counseling, EMDR, other holistic modalities of healing, from trauma, it took me a good 3 decades to be able to dismantle those stories. So my heart is really out there for those who maybe don't have those opportunities or those resources to really clear those dialogues. Yeah. But I feel like now, a little tool that I use is, and it does happen from time to time. I get triggered by something, but I just almost laugh at it now because I know it's like old movies, like, right?
So you go to humor.
Yeah.
You almost go to humor when you.
Yeah, we go.
That's healthy.
Right? Like
Yeah.
I replay, I think about, this is an old movie from the 80s. Like, why would I
It's
entertain
not real.
this?
Yeah,
right?
it's not, most of it's not even real, probably.
It's not real, but our minds are so powerful, right? So yeah, I feel like we have so much in us to dismantle that, but we can easily forget. But I'm here to remind people, even myself sometimes, like what you entertain is what exists, and we don't have to entertain those conversations, right?
Yeah. You can control your thoughts.
Yeah,
That's
literally.
what you're talking about, literally controlling your thoughts, right? I mean, I try to do that every Monday morning when I wake up with anxiety. Doesn't happen every Monday morning, but you're right. There's a pattern we fall into, and being able to recognize that quickly. And I like to say it's like a record that scratches. I try to scratch the record in my mind when I feel like I'm falling into a pattern, which is on a daily basis, multiple times a day, seemingly.
Yeah, and I think that's probably the challenge of a lot of people in business, surgeons like you know, people who are really like,
I'm not a surgeon by training, but thank you. But anyway.
well, surgical minded people that are, you know, helping people recover or get better or creating
Physicians,
solutions,
doctors,
right?
yeah.
All those specialties, you know, everyone is caught into something, right? So how do you unravel it? And, you know, the power, like you said, of just knowing, like, if I entertain this, it can become worse, or I can change the narrative, and it's my perspective. Like, how can I see this differently, right?
It's so interesting when you look at the science on memory, right? I'm not saying anyone's memories aren't real, because I mean I know yours are real and mine are real, but some of them aren't they? And we run these. What I find fascinating, and I'm talking about myself, me personally, I have these narratives, these stories I tell myself that I know aren't necessarily real about, you know, some negativity in my life. But it feels real to me at the moment, right? I mean, your subconscious mind doesn't know when you have a thought, whether it's actively occurring right in front of you, right, or it happened 35 years ago. It still feels very real, doesn't it? It's an interesting concept. How do you break through that? I use exercise. Now, what do you do from in the moment? Because I'm interested in my mind's going crazy. I'm stressing out. I'm thinking my wife no longer loves me today because she frowned at me on the way out, or we had an argument, and I'm going into this anxiety or this fear that blows through my mind. How do you? What tools do you use?
I love that.
I use breathing. That's one of my things. I'm a breather.
Yes.
I'm a ridiculously disciplined exerciser, not because I'm worried about my body, but because it keeps me from going crazy. You know, exercising.
Absolutely.
But give me some of your practical tools.
I would say all of those, because I do feel like I need movement, physical movement. You know, there's some study that I don't really know the specifics of it, but they say, like, just shaking it off. Like, you know, Taylor Swift has that shake it off. Like, literally shaking things off your body, whether that's on a rebounder in the morning, which I use, you know, maybe 10 minutes I rebound, which is great for your lymphatic system. But also I feel like it shakes off the residual of, like, just stuff that life tries to stick at you. But
it's metaphorical. I'm shaking it off.
Yeah, I know. And it's like a visualization too, right?
Okay.
Because I feel like from where I've come from, I've seen a lot of darkness. I've experienced a lot of darkness. And now that I'm in this place of more, I would say, lightness.
You're full of light. When I'm around you, I feel light.
Thank you.
I think people describe you that way.
Well, yes, and thank you. But it's been a journey to get there. And I feel like when I go to that paralyzing thought, like you said, you're scared because is my wife still going to love me, right? And it's really recognizing that it's a choice of how we see things, right? And in the moment, it can be hard to, like, really reel yourself in. But I realize, like, everything's a conversation and a perspective.
So true.
So how do I change that perspective? For me, it's visual, but it's also, like, saying things to myself that are going to, like, change the narrative.
Asking yourself better questions.
Perhaps.
For a better conversation with yourself.
Absolutely. And in the moment, sometimes I don't know what that question is. But I do stick to something that really kind of shifts me out of that negative gear. And for me, it works. It may not work for others, but I say, you know, find something that works for you to navigate that. But for me, it's like all of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory.
So that's your aphorism. All of life comes to me with ease, joy, and glory.
Yeah. And I start
like
believing like the ease is coming, the joy is coming, the glory is coming. It may not happen.
It makes
like,
me feel better hearing you say that.
well, thank you. That's the point. Like, if I can shift my head in that direction instead of like the negative chatter, the darkness is what I call it, that just keeps you gripped. I feel like I have something to look forward to, right? So something's going to happen. It may not be like 5 minutes from now, but today,
Something's good going to happen.
hell or high water, it's going to happen. And it really does.
It does. There's usually some moment during the day that's miraculous, if we can see it.
Yes. And James, thank you for saying that, because miraculous is miraculous, right? Like the truth is that you and I are here today. We have life, like we're in the moment. We, have an opportunity to live. We have another day given. Tomorrow is never promised. So why am I going to let that negative incident just take me down? Because then I'm giving my power away, right? I mean, we all know that, but it's hard to remember in the moment.
So true. Was there a moment that clicked with you that you just all of a sudden said, I'm past this. I'm past this. I mean, I know it's again, life is it's an evolution, right? We're growing on it. We're growing or we're not. But was there a moment in your mind that you could point to where you just said, I'm on a healing journey now. I can feel it. Was there a certain moment, or was it more gradual for you?
It was collective moments, James, to be honest, because what got me even on that train for healing, which again was like 3 decades journey, but I wouldn't change it now, even though there were times where I questioned it and I hated it and I doubted it. But it was more of like, I'm going to be better than this. I'm going to be better than where I came from, because I've been given an opportunity for life. So why can't I make it better, or at least try? So what I did was, being in a very toxic, I guess, upbringing, you get these negative messages, but I said, you know what? I am going to be smart. I am going to make my life beautiful best I can. So I went to school, I did all the things. I got my graduate degree. Yeah. I did the journey of putting
working on yourself.
Yeah. Working on myself. So I could change that deep rooted thought that no, I'm really not stupid. And I did things that proved to myself that if I do apply myself and if I think better about myself, worthwhile, that I can actually maybe change the story and break that pattern. And I feel like maybe that's where some of the joy comes now residually, is I know that I can do that when I was conditioned to not do that. So maybe is it beating the odds? I don't know. I mean, we all beat the odds just because we, make it through a day, right?
Yeah. Being born.
Yeah.
Odds of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's the whole thing. I mean, that was something I struggled with, just the fact of being born. That was almost a sentencing for me, because, my mother made it clear that I wasn't supposed to be born. I was supposed to be a terminated pregnancy that was gone wrong. She decided in the last minute not to do it. But
thanks God.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
I couldn't have said that until maybe the last 10 years of my life, because you just, when your own mother tells you that, you kind of believe maybe I am a mistake. But I think for me, maybe it's a personality thing. I was driven to say, I want to show that I am worthy. And of course, faith in my life and God, and feeling like I had some guidance in this life through a spiritual connection means the world.
Everything, at least to me. I mean, I can't, we're a faith-based family. We're Christians, and I can't imagine not living without God in my life and faith in my life. I mean, I'd be on a daily basis. I'm a basket case anyway. Without having that grounding me in my life, I think I'd be really in trouble.
Yes.
What now? I know your husband well. He's a friend. So Vida, let me take you back for the benefit of our listeners. I know some of your story, but so as a child, you were taken advantage of by a man that was around your mom, and I know just a little bit. So I want you to share some of that with our readers, and I also want to let you know that that happened in my family, to someone I know that I love, and to an older family member, and my personal experience is that when I look back, as I was thinking before I came today, is how we minimized it. That's when I think back. I mean, I grew up in the '80s. You know, I'm older than you, but I think when I heard that story when I was 12 or 14 about a female in our family, I remember minimizing it and going, "Oh, it's not." But I can see later in life what it was pretty tragic to her. And I think males, it was easy for us to minimize it. But please, and again, I'm more interested, as I shared before we started, on what you're doing today, because you're so healthy and you're a lot of light. When I'm around you, I feel a lot of light. But I think for our listeners, share with a little bit of the trauma you went through and the high points. Then we'll move past that and talk about what you're doing today.
Sure. Yeah. No, I appreciate you asking because it's the platform that really gives purpose to my life now. I've been speaking at different events, whether it's fundraising galas, healing events for mostly women who have been trafficked. And I want to build the awareness that there are different kinds of trafficking. You know, there is, the trafficking of obviously sexual children and women. There's trafficking done in families, which mine is familial trafficking. And then there's like worker trafficking. So yeah, my journey is interesting because in the 80s, 90s, you know, I was in that time of, you know, really growing up. The 80s were my formative years. And my mother comes from a third world country. And when she came to the U.S., she didn't really have a lot of opportunities for work. And I feel like she sold herself out. She was a little desperate because she had me at that point. I was literally like a year old. And I think she tried to do it on her own. She worked in hotels as like a housekeeper. But, you know, she was really young. She was 24 years old. And she found that the way to do this, to actually stay in the U.S. too, was to marry an American man. And her filter for discriminating a good man wasn't really, you know, fine-tuned. And she picked a very abusive man. So essentially, she got in the situation with him where when I was about 5, they started sexually grooming me by taking me to theaters and having me watch these like pornographic movies. So that by the time I kind of got pre-teenage, I would feel normal with, you know, sexual assault by my stepfather, essentially. My mother got upset after a few years that, you know, I think she realized what she turned herself, you know, to with this man, this agreement, that she couldn't really shake it. And she was trying to like pawn me off on another man, but he didn't want to have anything to do with it, which I'm so grateful for.
Thanks God. Yeah.
Yeah. Because she kind of wanted to have her husband back. But at that point, I feel like, you know, just things got really toxic. And my mother, you know, she knew what was happening. She wasn't defending me. And it became really like traumatic for me because it really started when I was 5. And it didn't end until I was about 12 or 13 when I was removed from the house. So, you know, when I was removed, at that point, I had 2 stepbrothers that were children from my stepfather, and they were young, and I never really saw them much again. I didn't see my mom, and I was thankful that I didn't see my stepfather.
Yeah.
But it was just really hard to be like removed from family, and then just that, you know, toxic environment of negativity and abuse and assault, and not having your mother defend you is like really hard for recovery. So that's kind of my journey. And I do speak about it now because it was so taboo to talk about sexual abuse.
Yeah.
In that
Nobody
era.
talked about it.
No. And when I actually tried to speak about it, I was really desperate. I needed relief
Yeah.
from what was happening in my house. I actually remember, this is dating it, but Yellow Pages. I looked up in the Yellow Pages, like detectives. I wanted detectives to know like what was happening in my house.
Oh my goodness.
So I called them on the phone. I was probably like 9 or 10. And I said, I just want to report that I'm having really hard times in my house. My stepfather is, you know, assaulting me sexually and physically, a lot of physical abuse. Can someone help me? Like, I just need help. And I knew my mother would not do anything to defend that. And this is just a testament to like why I'm speaking about it now, because it's been swept under the carpet so much in that era. You know, it was don't ask, don't tell, like just don't sweep it under the rug. But even with like what I consider to be like law enforcement or people that would, you know, defend someone in trouble.
The survivor.
Yeah. It was.
They were Were they minimizing it too?
They minimized it.
That's what I feel like too.
And they shut it down.
Yeah.
They laughed at me. They just said, "Who are you? Like, why would you be telling us this stuff? Like, no one does that. I mean, that wouldn't happen in a home." And I said, "No, it's really happening, and I really need help." And they just like pretty much hung up on me. So at that point, I knew like there was no one that could help me.
You know, and I can see the look on your face right now. You've healed past this. I can see your face right now. You're past this. This is behind you, isn't it? Behind you.
It's an old movie, really.
Yeah.
And I choose not to play it as the victim.
Yeah, that's what I'm seeing. You're confident with this conversation.
How do you separate that? How do you know the line between like feeling like the victim and like going through the feelings? How did you separate those? I'm curious, and I'm sure people will be too.
Yeah. So I realized it was like an energy I put myself into, and that being a victim really doesn't give you access to like put things to bed and really
no power.
Yeah, it doesn't give you a chance to like reboot your life and rebuild. And I think it's just, again, like this driven, this ambition in me to like say, but I want to do better. And so I realized that I had to put the victim story to bed, even though, trust me, I kept it alive for a lot of my adult life. It interfered with like the choices I made, the people, you know, that I engaged with. But I knew like that wasn't going to move me forward. And so I like to say that we can either be victims of what happens to us or we can be victors. And that just was more empowering to me because I thought I have one life and I don't want to go down as the victim. Like that allows my abusers to win. And I'm not going to give that away.
So along those lines, I'll change. Thank you, Lena. I'll change gears. So getting back to, again, I just focus on my own personal experience in my family, how we poo-pawed it. I poo-pawed it. It was poo-pawed in my family and kind of minimized. And what advice, I mean, I know there's resources, females have resources, but you've got to have some amazing advice for a young, we'll frame it as a female right now. It happens to males too, right? Happens to males too. But a young female, she's 10, 11, 12 years old, and she's thinking like you were. What words of wisdom do you have?
I always say, speak up, right?
Speak up.
Like, obviously the opposite of what happened
They try to keep you quiet.
Yeah, like don't be quiet and be willing to say what is happening. And like, there's a lot of shame that had stuck to people who spoke out back then. And even when I came out with my story in 2017, there was a lot of shame. Friends that I had were ashamed that I spoke about my past. And I realized like shame can shut you down.
Yeah.
So I would say to anyone, if you're 10, if you're 20, if you're 30, if you decide like I want to come out with what has happened to like set myself free, because really it sets you free.
Yeah.
When you share it.
Yeah.
Keeping it in keeps you a victim in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, just be open to like letting people know what has happened to you and that you actually do want help. And now there are so many resources. I mean, there's actual like fundraising events, there's galas, all the things.
There's an awareness today. There's such an awareness that there just never was.
Yes. And I love that we're like out of the closet with this taboo, because as I've come forward, James, I've learned that so many people have come to me or, you know, responded to things when I've spoke publicly and said, this has happened to me, like in some form or fashion.
Yeah.
You know, I've been shut down, I've been abused, I've been in situations that, you know, are just not healthy. And I just feel like, as I said when I first walked in and met with you and the team, if we are not collectively like healing together, if we're not supporting each other, what is this life about?
So
because, you know, my pain translates through my community, and then it might, you know, seep into like, somehow it seeps into other people's worlds, and just the strife and the dysfunction and the disorder of
Yeah.
like how I'm behaving. It's like a domino effect. So I just feel like keeping things quiet is the worst thing to do when you're trying to like move
Heal.
forward and heal.
Good stuff. I'm thinking about my children. You know, I want to tell my children. You know, there's no secrets, right? If somebody wants to keep secret, you tell mom and dad immediately, right? I mean, it's kind of a simple concept. Share.
I love that you said that, because we're like in the decade of no secrets,
Yeah, it's good.
and it is a liberation.
It's shining a light we need a light shined on darkness for sure.
Yes, because you cannot transform the dark into light unless you show the dark, right? It's what keeps us small. And like, who has time to be small?
I don't want a small life.
I know.
I don't want to play small ball.
No, I mean, and that's part of how my life is now. I'm not living small. It's probably more of an outrageousness. So, you know, I think some people, I have been misinterpreted in terms of who I am now, because I'm in my 50s and I'm very eccentric and I'm very expressed, and I like things that are playful and colorful. And, you know, it all goes back to, and maybe you can see this in yourself, like as a child, the things we're not allowed to do, like I wasn't allowed to be expressive. You know, that was like shut down. I was punished for it. But now that I am an adult, I can be expressive. So of course it probably comes, you know, the pendulum swings the opposite direction to where I am so like outward, you know?
It's great. When I've been to so many social events where you were there and people want to be around you, you're full of, you've got a light and energy about you. You do.
Thank you. It's earned. And I just want the viewers, the listeners to know that whatever they're going through, no one's life. I used to think this, like, oh, if you're, you know, this celebrity, or if you're an accomplished, whatever, you know, businessman, woman, if you're a surgeon, if you're whatever. I used to put people in like little buckets that they have a seamless, perfect life. And now, because I've lived this life and I know these people, I know that everyone is going through something.
So true. Everyone we know, right? Everyone we know we think's got it together is going through stuff.
Yes.
Literally everyone we know is suffering, is worried, is going, right? We're all dealing with life. And I think it's true. I think if you come from a background where you're surviving something, whether it's poverty or abuse or lack of education or lack of love or avoidance, some parents just avoid their kids, just ignore they're there. I think you start thinking that you're the only one, and that that guy over there's got it going on so good. But we're all screwed up people. We're all, even like you said, it doesn't matter whether you're a leader of a company, you're a pastor, you write books, you're a celebrity. We're all screwed up people.
It's true. And I'm so grateful that coming from, you know, as you said, you know, I had disadvantages with just being in a healthy environment, but also the poverty factor, you know, not having money. And now, like, that I mean, you know, my husband.
Very successful.
Very successful. And I've had the great experiences, and I've been in the fancy cars, and I know his life, and I know it's not perfect. And I would have thought, you know, rewind maybe 30 years ago, if I saw someone like him, that he's got it all
going
figured
on.
out.
He's got it all figured out.
And he's the one that's up at night losing sleep, you know, about how am I going to continue this life,
That's
right?
so
Because
true.
once you create it, you don't want to go back, right?
Yeah.
So now I'm like, I was so disoriented in my way of thinking about people who are successful. And, you
So
know,
true.
and I think maybe as someone who's survived trauma, you look to those people because you think that they have all the answers, you know. But my point is that I really like infusing that no matter who you are, what you've come from, it doesn't matter. Like, you have potential, you have passion, you have capacity to like live your best life. And even though life is like knocking us down sometimes and we're stressful, I look at this opportunity as like, we'll never have the same day again. And we all get to be here in this playground of life. Let's make it the best we can. Like, even if we lose that shot or we've, lost those Bitcoins, like, oh my God, that hurts so bad. But what do we have that is so good? Like, let's focus on the good things, because then the energy is that more good things are going to come, instead of that disdain and stress of like the lack of what I don't have. And quite honestly, like, it was hard for me to kind of position that with my husband when he went into some like downturns with his business, because he always had this track record of success. But, there's seasons in life. And it might have took me a good year to have him like see that perspective.
To teach him.
Yeah, to teach him, and that he was even open to it, that you get to like really say, and if you want to be mired in stress, then that's going to be like your pitfall. But what are the good things we have going on? I mean, we're healthy. We live in an amazing place. We get to travel. We, whatever it is, we have great friends. It doesn't have to be monetary. I mean, because honestly, like, I know what it's like not to have that. So I position him in places where we can have simple fun. And then he realizes, you know what? Life isn't just about the things I thought I needed to have to be happy. There's an expansive tray of choices, right?
Yeah.
Like, what are you going to choose?
Yeah. There's so much.
You've got lots of choices, James.
I'm very blessed. You think you get up every day, you're healthy. I mean, first of all, it's your health, and your family's healthy. I mean, what a blessing. But we do get into those patterns. I mean, to dovetail on something you just said about kind of putting people in a box and judging people. I think the reality is most of us are going through something. When you interface with somebody at the grocery store and they frown at you, you're like, oh, look, that guy's something's wrong with him. No, he's just going through something, right? Trying to understand. I guess my evolution as a human being is just trying to realize most people are going through something.
Yes, and thank you for saying that example of, the grocery store and the guy with the scowl on his face, because I've witnessed that, and I've even experimented with, going into a public space and smiling at people just because I want to smile at them, right? And I get one of the two responses that either smile back and they're just like it makes them happy, it might have like shift something in their mind for a moment, or they're just like, they scowl more, And I'm like, okay, but this is a testament to like, we get to choose.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to be poopy and droopy, or do you want to be
choice.
like, like thinking like, I'm going to have a good time here. Right. Yeah. But if I could just impart something that you triggered for me in terms of, like you said, we're all going through something. And this is something that I've been playing with. I say that we can all listen for each other's greatness. And it's like a simple thing that I do, but I feel like when I'm engaging with people in my day-to-day life, maybe someone had a bad day, right? Okay, well, when they come to me and we're having a discussion, instead of taking in that energy of what they're bringing, I choose to listen to their greatness. So what that means is that I will listen to you as you are worthwhile, you are light, you are lovely, you are joyful, you are amazing, like you have potential, like you are the one and only. And I have just played with that experientially, and it kind of
shifts the energy,
shifts the energy,
vibration,
and the demeanor in someone. And I'm like, kind of like, wow, is that?
I can make a frowning person smile.
Yeah, and I'm not even saying a word. It's like how I listen to them. So it's just like what I'm giving you. Is it like I'm giving you a space to just show up differently? I don't know. But these are simple things.
Yeah, it's an energy transfer. You're giving them good vibes, right?
Perhaps.
Giving them good energy.
Yeah, and I just say in day-to-day life, we can perhaps listen to people differently, because why not? I can listen to you as, an angry, resentful, painful man, or I can listen to you as something else that is enlightening and joyful and has like opportunity, right? Potential.
I tell my wife and my family that when I come home in a cranky mood, that I'm just see me in a different light, darling.
I know, and I know it sounds maybe very like simplistic, but I'm just finding that I'm able to find these tools and make an impact for myself, but also for the people that I come encounter with.
Yeah, because you're not judging that energy they're getting. It's hard. One of the things I struggle with is when somebody's negative around me a lot, and they're just sucking energy out of me. I feel like all the time, and they're negative all the time, and I fight with that because I had to overcome that as a child. I wanted to. I didn't want to be. I wanted to be that glass is half full, not half empty child. And so when someone's around me spilling negativity all the time, it seems like every time I'm around them, I have a hard time with that. And I love the tool you're describing of just letting that slide off you and just listening. What's great about this person today? This negative cesspool of complaining. There's this beauty in this person, and maybe because you interface with them that way, they start getting those vibes back. It's just positive. There's no.
Right. I mean, it's worth playing with, and I have found that sometimes it works instantly, and then sometimes it doesn't. But what I found when it doesn't work, it kind of like quiets that person, because I think maybe subconsciously they know I'm not listening to the junk, and they want to just spew their junk, right? But I'm not going to entertain it, like without saying a word.
Nobody knows the trouble I've seen today.
Right?
Nobody knows.
I mean, yeah. So let's make it good trouble, right?
Good stuff. So I'll ask you a couple questions. Do you have a question I ask most every guest? Do you have like a morning routine that you do to kind of set your day, or you meditate, you pray, you exercise, what do you do? Do you
I'm
read?
so glad you asked the question, because like mornings are very sacred to me, and it's almost a ministry. And so I do have the gift to be able to wake up, and I don't turn my phone on for a good hour. And I use that time to really be with myself and elevate myself for the day. So how that looks is I'm reading some devotions. I'm reading either Bible scriptures or something that's spiritual.
Wisdom literature.
Inspirational things. But I'm usually like standing. So I have a 5-foot LED panel light that I stand in front of every morning. So while I'm reading, when my back's to it, I read, and then I turn around and I do my other side for 10 minutes. So that's like a 20-minute process, but 10 minutes of it.
So like a phototherapy you're doing while you're reading? Is that kind
it's just LED light for my mitochondria function. So it boosts that. So it's like part of my morning wake up. So one of my challenges in this chapter of my life is adrenal fatigue, and so it just helps with that.
Yeah.
But I like maximizing, so I'm like, well, I can read my devotions while I'm doing
while you're getting your phototherapy.
while I'm doing my phototherapy. And so it's really that. It's like drinking my okay, you're gonna laugh, but I'm all about the laughs. I drink this broth that I make, and it's veal knuckle.
Knuckle.
So I actually
My wife drinks bone broth.
Well, it is a bone broth.
Okay.
But it's the veal knuckle broth, which I get at the Scottsdale Meat Market, because the veal knuckle, it's a baby calf, and so it has the most collagen fibers.
Chondrocytes or something. Okay.
Versus a grown calf. And so, anyways, I put lemon in it, and so I've just got a whole ministry.
You got a big morning routine.
I do. And then I finally have my coffee. And of course I got my cats, and like I'm, giving them affirmations, telling them that they're amazing, that they're healthy, that they're healing. I have a whole hour to myself.
Good.
But it's really nice.
It's good stuff. Phototherapy is really interesting to me. We're reading about this, right? It's all over the media, but I just read an article. I'll just dovetail here just one second. I just read an article about Kaiser, big HMO in California, is sending phototherapy boxes to some of their patients with different types of autoimmune diseases, or especially different types of inflammatory arthropathies, which interests me, arthritis, and they're finding that phototherapy helps. There's more than just the UVB, UVC, UVA, wavelengths. There's so much healing that occurs that we don't even understand yet with phototherapy, right? And that's kind of what you're talking about. You're getting your light in the morning. I mean, there's big research being done on that today, on deep, like you said, mitochondrial function, but your immune system, and it's interesting. Interesting stuff.
Oh, I love it. And that there's more benefits is even a bonus. And that's something I didn't touch on with the trauma healing that I've been through. I'm still dealing with it to this day, even though emotionally I've put a lot of that to bed. It's affected my physical body. As a child, when you're in, constant fight or flight, it taps out your endocrine system, your adrenals.
Sympathetics.
Yeah, sympathetics. Like my endocrine system developed, but it develops like very haphazardly. So now I have a lot of disconnect with my body. And it's a challenge because once I emotionally got healed, then I get into this decade where
It's physical more.
it's physical.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
for me, it's like,
Well, welcome to party. I'm over 52. It happens to all of us. But no, you're correct. We know in spine medicine, like when we're going to operate on a patient or we're going to do an injection on a patient in spine and pain medicine, that pre-adolescent abuse is really hard, and it really complicates musculoskeletal problems later in life. So I believe you very much. It's not just we're both over 50. That affects you later in life, doesn't the physical? So I can help you with that. The physical, I can help you with.
oh, the physical is like, where I need to go now.
Yeah, the exercise, all that stuff. We're experts at that. That's my space. I'll help you with that.
Well, thank
Easy
you.
peasy. There is our core becomes so important. I'm kind of a zealot. My wife doesn't like hearing it all the time. But for your spine, your core is so crucial, isn't it? Because you're going to have shoulder problems and knee problems and fibromyalgia and headaches and a lot of musculoskeletal pain if you don't have a really strong core. And it's I'm a zealot about talking about how to, I see people in the gym and they're on the cardio and they're hitting the cardio hard and they got a belly, or they're walking around the track so hard and they have no core strength. And then the next thing I know, I see them with a knee brace on or a hip brace. If your core's not strong, everything breaks down. It's just my preaching for the day.
Well, and I love it because I feel like that's where my mind has been, tapping into my core strength, which is lacking. And it's probably because chronic fatigue is keeping me from having the energy to actually do that kind of exercise.
It's
So-
a double-edged sword, the
It
chronic
is.
fatigue. Again, I'm giving you all this unsolicited advice.
I love it.
So I would say that the core is the first thing you do. Like when I used to see patients, I would say, don't worry about walking and doing and climbing a mountain. Train your core. Just when you go to the gym, you got to train your cardio. You have to do all those things, all functional exercise, but you have to take time for your core. So I used to tell all my patients, go to the gym and train your core first, and then do everything else afterwards. Like basically everything is core. All exercise should be core related.
So would Pilates be a good practice?
I think it's an amazing place to start. Pilates is great stuff. Emmanuel, my wife, does quite a bit of it. I've never tried Pilates, but I think it's do you do a lot of Pilates too?
I want to do it.
Yeah.
And my crutch right now is not having the energy and the stamina to even do a full-fledged workout. And so that's a challenge.
So I have a famous 4-minute workout for your core. It's 4 minutes. I'm going to show you before we leave
Fab
today.
Four.
It's the Fab Four, and and I'll just for the benefit of our readers, it's a 2-point plank and a lateral plank, and I'll show those with you. And they really strengthen the core, and you can do them in 4 or 5 minutes at home, and they show big dividends fast. I mean, for our spine patients, if the ones that will do it, I think they can see strengthening in their core in as little as 2 or 3 weeks. Start to feel that the muscles are firing and contracting. And the nice thing about these core exercises is they're spine neutral, because when you're training your core, you can injure your joints pretty easy. So I'll share those with you before we leave today.
No, I would absolutely love that.
Yeah.
I need all the help.
Last question for you. What's a book on your desk? I know you're a reader. Is there a book on your nightstand that you're reading, or one that you'd recommend, one you've read recently?
Yes. And the one I'm going to recommend, I like it for 2 reasons. It's travel friendly. I take it on a lot of my travels.
Okay.
And it's called The Daily Decree. And I don't know the author's last name, but I know her name's Barbara. So I guess I wasn't really prepared.
I don't read authors' names. Sometimes I'm reading a book and I don't even know who the author is. I do that. I'm halfway through.
So I guess that's not so bad. I don't know her name, but I've been reading this book, James, for about 2 years.
Wow.
So it's really just a daily devotional, but there's probably like 40 devotions. and then I'll just start from the beginning again.
Okay.
Because sometimes I'll have missed a message in one of those, but it's religious based. I mean, I think it infuses both
like that.
religion and practical daily life ways to impart for a successful or at least a mindful day.
Reading's crucial for controlling, helping you control your thoughts. You gain so much wisdom through reading, don't you?
And I like the hard copy books. Yes. So I mean, I don't put them on the digital format because I just want to touch
You
them.
want to touch, feel the paper, like reading the Wall Street Journal. Podcasts are good too. Podcasts are good for.
I love podcasts, and I love that we're here.
Thank you. Any parting statements you'd like to make before we sign off today? I really enjoyed this. I knew I would. I was excited to come. But any parting advice you have for anyone?
Well, thank you for that invitation. I would say, we have today. Tomorrow's never promised. I say live full out, love full out, and be who you are full out, because that's the joy in life, and we never get a second chance to be that again. So yeah, just be
Be
all.
authentic, be present. Excellent. I hope today's episode helps you stand taller in your own shoes. I hope you learned from Vida today. It was inspiring for me. I really thank you for today. And I appreciate you. Thanks.
Thank you,
for coming.
James,
Yeah,
for
you
having
bet,
me.
you bet.